Tonight, we have assembled a political roundtable to discuss the big races of the night.
Joining us now are St. Louis native and U.S. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett of Texas, St. Louis County Councilman Dennis Hancock, and Five on Your Side political analyst Anita Mannion. And Anita, let's start with you. Let me get your take on Amendments 4 and 5 going down to big defeats. Governor Kehoe put some real political capital behind both of those. So is this a personal defeat for him?
Well, yeah, I think it's fair to say it is a personal defeat for him. These were pet projects. He called special sessions. He was campaigning behind them. And I think that he came out pretty fiery with the defeat. And so I expect him to come back with another version of these bills that might be a little more appealing to Missouri voters.
And Congresswoman Crockett, we hear the rhetoric from Wesley Bell and from Cori Bush. From Congressman Bell, he talks about unity. He says, if someone comes for you, kill them with kindness. He's instructing people to have that coming together moment to tune out the noise. From Congresswoman Bush, I'm going to soften her language a little bit. She talked with a lot of anger tonight. What do you hear from that, and what does this race portend for the future of the Democratic Party going into the midterms?
I think that Congressman Bell did the right thing. He focused, number one, on Missouri 1. He focused on the issues right here at home, and I think that that's what most people are wanting right now, as they are hurting right here at home. But more importantly, when we look at how we got here, we know that we got here because of divisions and divisiveness. So the idea that we are now going to start to focus on making sure that we can come together, I think that that was the right tone for him to hit, because we know that there were a lot of outside voices that were really wanting a lot of division right here in Missouri 1. And if we are going to win together and save our democracy, that means that we're going to have to come together as a party.
And Dennis Hancock, we now know who your opponent will be, Jake Zimmerman, for the St. Louis County Executive. What is the one issue or issues you think will win this race in November?
Well, I think that what we're going to be talking about is my record. I have a record that I'm very proud of. I think that when you compare my record to the county assessor's record, I think that people are going to have a real choice in November, and I hope that they take that into consideration as they go to the ballot box.
And Congresswoman Crockett, we heard from Cori Bush tonight, the former Congresswoman, suggest that Republicans could try to carve up this district, Missouri 1, in 2027, before the next map, before the next election. What's the Democratic plan nationwide to fight back?
Yeah, I think that what we've seen happen is we've worked with so many different lawyers on the ground, making sure that we're filing litigation. Unfortunately, it seems like we get a lot better results when we're not in the Supreme Court. So it is my hope that we continue to push forward, we continue to fight these lines, and hopefully the Supreme Court will render some good and right decisions, as we know that they are not too fond of doing nowadays, but they are getting some things right. We know that birthright citizenship, that's a recent opinion that just kind of got solidified as something that is constitutional. So these are fights that are based in the Constitution. So hopefully we can continue to win a few fights here and there.
And Anita, zooming out, does anything happen in Missouri tonight? Tell us something about the national mood heading toward the midterms in November.
Well, Missouri 1 didn't go kind of the more progressive way that we've seen in some other places, but St. Louis is its own animal, and this was a unique race. But I think when we look at Amendments 4 and 5, we see the kind of distrust in institutions and government. We're not going to turn over our voices to you or trust you to implement tax policy that we don't know. So I think that is part of the national mood.
For any of you who wants to answer this, what do you think, seeing these results tonight, what do you see as the common ground for Missouri voters, and what are the biggest divides as we head into November?
I think that what we saw tonight, especially with Amendments 4 and 5, is we're the show me state. And I think people wanted to be shown what they were getting to replace the income tax. And I think that, as Anita said, I think it just comes down to that distrust of institutional government.
I think overall it's refreshing. We've seen these huge divides, whether we're talking about intra-party fights or otherwise. It has been very refreshing to see that there's actually so much more that unites us than divides us. That's what we saw with the resounding rejection of what the governor decided to put forward. And I think that if we can kind of carry that forward, we may end up having elected officials up and down the ballot that actually start to work for all of us, because the reality is that we honestly see a lot of things in this world alike.
All right, thanks to our panel for joining us. If you were streaming all night, they had a lot of great insights. You can go back and see all that. Thank you very much. We'll be back in just a moment.